You are listening live to Football Live.
Here is your host, Barry Swain.
Good afternoon, everybody. A bit of Premier League action coming your way this afternoon. We've got some classic action for you. 5 matches, including Manchester City at home to Fulham, Arsenal at home to Southampton. We'll be popping along to East London to see if West Ham United can stop a trend of 3 straight home defeats against Ipswich. Brentford score in the first minute, so just waiting for them to score in the first minute against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Leicester against Bournemouth is a big match as well. But we'll start in the Bundesliga this afternoon by Leverkusen off and underway half an hour earlier than the Premier League kickoffs. They're playing newly promoted strugglers Holstein Kiel this afternoon, and there's been plenty of goal action, some interesting goal scoring action involving a Nigerian at the Bay Arena. Watching this one for us, it's good afternoon, Richard Freckleton.
Good afternoon to you, Barry. It's Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 0. And the Nigerian international Boniface is having a great start to this match. He's scored in the 4th minute, assist from Palacios, and then another goal came in the 8th minute with Hoffman, and again an assist from Palacios. And then again, Boniface had another opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net, which he duly did in the 26th minute, but it was ruled offside. They really should be filling their boots today against the bottom side in the Bundesliga, Holstein Kiel. But with 30 minutes on the clock, it's Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 0.
Thank you very much for that, Richard. So there we have it, an early couple of goals for you, and Victor Boniface again in amongst the goals. Since that game between Rwanda and Nigeria, which ended 0-0 in the last international break, he's played 6 games, including today. 5 goals already in between the 2 international breaks. He's in great form coming into the next international breaks. Let's get around those grounds in the Premier League. They're all getting underway in the Premier League this afternoon. We've got a full complement of matches. Let's get off to Arsenal. First of all, before we do that, I did say I was looking at the scoreboard and waiting for Brentford to take the lead in the first minute against Wolves. Well, Brentford have let me down. It's taken them 2 minutes to score this afternoon against Wolves. It's Brentford 1, Wolves 0. Nathan Collins with the goal. West Ham, who conceded in the first minute against Brentford last week, have gone and found themselves a goal themselves in the first minute against Ipswich. What a start for West Ham. Mikel Antonio with the goal. Let's get off to Arsenal first of all. We'll hear about those 2 goals in just a few moments' time. Arsenal at the Emirates this afternoon against the Southampton side that like to play their way out from the back. Jack Hesson is watching this for us. It's Arsenal against Southampton. Any signs of an early goal for you, Jack?
Unfortunately not, but it's going to be a very good afternoon of football. I believe Arsenal coming into this one on good form. They make one change, Thomas Partey dropping into right back, it appears, with Julian Timber being replaced by Jorginho in the lineup. So the full lineup for Arsenal then: David Raya starts in goals, a back line of Partey, Saliba, Gabriel and Calafiori, midfield three of Kai Havertz, Jorginho and Declan Rice, and an attacking front three: Sterling on the left, Bukayo Saka on the right, and Gabriel Jesus leads the line. As for the Saints, they make 3 changes with Ryan Fraser, Charlie Taylor and Ugochukwu are out, replaced by Maxwell Cornet, Ross Stewart and Walker Peters. And of course the big news, Ramsdale starts in goals against his former club. It's a promising start for Arsenal in the early stages. 2 minutes in, they've got a corner at the moment. It's Arsenal 0, Southampton 0.
Thank you very much, Jack. So, already 2 goals in the Premier League. Let's go across and hear about one of them, shall we? Kane Wears is watching this afternoon's game between West Ham United and Ipswich Town at the London Stadium, and it hasn't taken West Ham long at all to get ahead in that game. Tell us all about the goal, if you can, please, Kane. Good afternoon, by the way.
Yeah, good afternoon, Barry, and what a start. And it's about 48 seconds, maybe even quicker. And at this stage last week, they were 1-0 down. And it's just a nice little bit of build-up play from the back from West Ham. They played out wide to Jared Bowen, who's on the right-hand side, and a great low crosser swept home, first time by Mikel Antonio. As simple as you like, in a team who are really close to each other so far in the league table. Massive, though, opportunity for the new manager this season, Julian Lopetegui, who is still looking to get his first home win this season after losing his last 3 games, but only about 3 minutes in, and it is West Ham 1, Ipswich 0.
Anyone arriving 6 minutes late for the game between Brentford and Wolves will be a little bit disappointed this afternoon, because it's now 1-1 in that game. Brentford 1, Wolves 1. Kuna with the equaliser for struggling Wolves at Brentford. We'll be across to our reporter in that game a little bit later. G-Tech Community Stadium this afternoon for Russ Vernon. We'll be catching up with him as soon as we can to hear about that. But first of all, let's get across to Paul James. He's watching the game at the Etihad. It's Manchester City against Fulham. Fulham having a good season, but Manchester City with their eyes on the prize at the top. How's the early stages looking, Paul?
Well, the early stages are looking like Manchester City could have had 2 early goals. Ilkay Gundogan picks up the ball on the edge of the penalty area and drills the shot, beating Leno all ends up, but just the wrong side of the post. Erling Haaland was played through by Jack Grealish and his shot was just pulled wide. So Manchester City line up as follows: 4-3-3, Ederson in goal, Josko Gvardiol, Ruben Diaz, Manuel Akanji, Rico Lewis, Ilkay Gundogan, Mateo Kovacic, Jack Grealish, Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva and Erling Haaland. One change for Marco Silva's men, and that is Emil Smith-Rowe only makes the bench today because of a niggling injury. Sanderberg steps in his place. 5 minutes gone, it's 0-0.
Those immortal words from Paul there. 5 minutes gone, and already we've had 4 goals in the Premier League's 5 games this afternoon. 2 at the G-Tech and now 2 at the London Stadium, because I can tell you that Ipswich Town have equalised against West Ham United. It's a goal from Liam Delap, the former Manchester City player, who's in excellent form. Just 6 minutes gone in that game at the London Stadium, and it's 1-1 between West Ham United and Ipswich Town. We'll be across to Kane to hear about that goal in just a few moments' time. In fact, we're going across to Kane now. Kane, what a start, and what an equaliser for Ipswich Town.
Yeah, what a great start to this game so far, and West Ham have conceded 4 goals in the opening 15 minutes of their Premier League games this season, the joint most along with Ipswich, and it's a simple ball where it comes in from a cross from the right hand side. Delap just peels off the back post, it comes out and he gets no pressure on the ball, and he just cuts inside and fires the ball in past Areola. Great start to the game so far, but 6 minutes in, it's West Ham 1, Ipswich 1.
Let's get across and hear about those 2 early goals in the game at the G-Tech in West London. It's Brentford 1, Wolves 1. Watching this game for Football Live, it's Russ Vernon. Good afternoon, Russ.
Good afternoon, Barry. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a fantastic start to this Premier League encounter. Brentford took the lead after just 2 minutes. Fantastic cross from Nørgaard. Damsgaard, should I say, a fantastic header of the back post from Nathan Collins to score against his former club, and then down at the other end was a fantastic bit of play from Wolverhampton Wanderers, brilliant bit of play from Semedo and the number 26 Carlos Forbes. Forbes played a knee 1-2 with Semedo. Semedo's come back and finished off brilliantly by Mateus Cunha. It is still Brentford 1, Wolves 1 after 7 minutes.
Thank you very much, Russ. There's one game we haven't even visited yet. It's the game between Leicester City and Bournemouth at the King Power Stadium this afternoon in the Premier League. Watching this one for Football Live, it's a very good afternoon to Jacob Collick.
Good afternoon, Barry. Yes, indeed, it's not been the exciting game that probably either of these sides were hoping it would be. They're both really desperate for a win. Leicester City are winless so far this season. They haven't even earned a clean sheet. Their next 4 games are, today, Bournemouth, Southampton, Forest and Ipswich, so they need to hit some form if they want to stay in the Premier League another season. Bournemouth managed a 3-1 win against Southampton last time and are hoping to earn back-to-back wins today. So it is critical for both of these sides that they come out and show their very best. So far, it hasn't been a rip-roaring game. We're not seeing the goals you're seeing flying in elsewhere, but there's still a long way to go and all to play for. It is Leicester 0, Bournemouth 0.
Yes, thank you very much. 6 minutes into our show, 6 games, 6 goals. Not bad, eh? Let's keep that one going, guys, shall we? Plenty of goals this afternoon on Football Live to greet us ahead of our international break, which of course means Football Live will have a rest next week, but we will be back in a couple of weeks' time. Let's get around the grounds. Arsenal 0, Southampton 0. They've got to the 10th minute. Ramsdale's still got his clean sheet. Let's get across to Jack Hesson, who's watching this game at the Emirates Stadium. All Arsenal, I understand, Jack, in the opening stages.
It is all Arsenal, an absolute onslaught of attack after attack, and Southampton really can't handle it at the moment. Chances have been coming from the first minute. The corner that I was talking about went to the back post. The Saliba cleared off the line. A couple of minutes ago, Bukayo Saka drilled the ball across the box. Southampton couldn't clear it. It fell to Jesus, but it was a weak shot once again. Cleared off the line. Raheem Sterling was broke through in on goal. He tripped over himself when he was trying to go past Ramsdale. Arsenal dominating at the moment, but they need to start turning that into goals. 10 minutes on the clock. Still Arsenal 0, Southampton 0.
Thank you very much, Jack. Let's get to the Bundesliga. We've had 2 goals in this game, 2 goals in 3 of our games, including Bayer Leverkusen against Holstein Kiel. In fact, Bayer Leverkusen, the only team featured on the show this afternoon, are actually winning at the moment. Watching this game for us is Richard Freckleton. Are they still very much in control, Richard, Bayer Leverkusen?
Very much in control, Barry. It still remains Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 0. They are totally dominating possession, and Holstein Kiel find it very difficult to get out of their half. And Boniface must be fancying his chances to get more goals in this game, because they are opening them up like a can of worms, and you feel it's a matter of time before they'll score again. But so far, it still remains Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 0.
And 2 goals in the game at the London Stadium as well. 1 apiece, West Ham 1, Ipswich Town 1, and another chance came with for West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham looking to re-establish their lead immediately, and Greaves is unable to see the ball out of play, and Bowen wriggles in between him and Muric, forces a good save from the feet of the goalkeeper, and the fun continues again with C. Lopetegui out calling his players to keep picking out Bowen and allowing Bowen to get at him. But you can see really so far in terms of both teams not being able to defend quite well so far this season. And West Ham have now not kept a clean sheet in the last 13 Premier League home games since January. But yeah, 10 minutes in, West Ham 1, Ipswich 1.
Live and exclusive to Brila FM. You are tuned in to Football Live.
So we've got so much coming up on Football Live. We're covering everything in England, in Germany, in Italy, in Spain, in Saudi Arabia, in Nigeria. You name it, we've got it covered here on Football Live.
Our fantastic team of reporters will be bringing you all the goals as they go in the biggest games across the footballing world.
We love a bit of drama here on Football Live, and we've plenty of it this afternoon.
Visit the official Football Live website and find out more about the show and the people behind Football Live. Visit www.footballliveshow.uk and follow us on X at FootBLiveShow.
It's an absolute cracker. Fantastic.
Incredible, amazing, unbelievable,
sensational.
Fantastic. This is amazing on Football Live.
Around the ground, chasing the goals. You are listening to Football Live.
Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
A good type of game of football.
From the beginning. Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live.
Join on the corner where the big boys play.
You are listening live to Football Live.
Here is your host, Barry Swain.
Yes, by way of a change here on Football Live, we've taken a break and we've come back, and there are no goals to tell you about. That's a first, isn't it? There is a goal in the game between Sheffield United and Luton Town in the Championship. Sheffield United and Luton Town both in the Premier League last season. Jessaran Raksaki, who was playing in League One, wasn't he, for Charlton on loan from Crystal Palace, was at Sheffield United on loan this season, and he scored a goal there. Sheffield United 1, Luton Town 0 in that game. Let's get around the ground, shall we? Let's start with the game at let's go to Arsenal first of all. They've had a few chances in the game. We last heard from Jack Hesson. Since then, I understand they've had a few more chances. Jack, it's still 0-0 though.
They have, the onslaught continues, but it is somehow still 0-0 in this game. It was a good little play on the right hand side between Saka and Jorginho, who plays a quick pass to release Kai Havertz in on goal. He probably had the angle for the shot, but he tried to play it across the face of goal, went out for a corner. That corner played in to the back post. Kai Havertz once again there to meet it, and Ramsdale manages to get out, get a fingertip to it, put it out for another corner, and then for that corner it was whipped in at the front post. Kai Havertz there once again, he gets his head to it first but couldn't guide it goalwards, so chances still coming for Arsenal. 13 minutes on the clock, it's Arsenal 0, Southampton 0.
Let's get up from the Emirates. We head north to the Etihad. Manchester City, who have been unable to win in either of their last 2 Premier League games. They're up against a Fulham side that are in decent form as well. Watching this one for us this afternoon, Paul James. Last time we were with you, Paul, it was one-way traffic. Is that still the case?
Well, it is, but I have to say that Fulham have organised their defence a little bit. They were perhaps a little slow to wake up early on, but just before you came, Phil Foden got himself into a very dangerous position in the penalty area, pulled the ball back, Calvin Bassey there to knock the ball out of play. But for the time being, Manchester City have 70% possession, and with 14 minutes gone, it's Manchester City 0, Fulham 0.
Yes, and Kevin De Bruyne asking Belgium this week, the national team, for some time off. He doesn't really want to be called up in this international break. The 33-year-old, he's missed Manchester City's past 4 games through injury after picking up a thigh injury in a 0-0 draw against Inter Milan last month in the Champions League. De Bruyne is on course to return to action after the international break, set to be left out of Belgium's National League squad this week for games against Italy and France. Moving on, let's get around those grounds. First of all, before we do that, let me tell you about another goal in the Premier League. And it's gone to the newly promoted Leicester City. They are leading Bournemouth at the King Power by a 1-0. Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0 is a goal that I can tell you about. It's just literally hit the back of the net. So Leicester City really needing that first win of the season. Quite a few teams down the bottom still looking for that first win of the season. And they are leading Bournemouth by a 0-0. We'll get around those grounds in a moment just to tell you about a goal in the Championship. The Nigerian Michael Obafemi, although he plays for Ireland, he's got Nigerian parents, chose to play for Ireland. He scored for Plymouth. Plymouth 1, Blackburn 0. Facundo Buonanotte has scored the goal for Leicester. Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0. We'll hear about that one in just a few moments' time with Jacob Collett. Let's get around the grounds. We'll go to Brentford against Wolverhampton Wanderers at the GTEC Community Stadium. Russ Vernon's watching this one for us. Luckily for Russ, he got there before kick-off. He saw 2 early goals. Have there been any more chances since, Russ?
Yes, Wolves had a really good chance. Very fantastic bit of play down the right-hand side again. Forbes and Semedo working well down that right-hand side, and a fantastic putback from Forbes into Semedo on the edge of the penalty. Forbes shot which just went over the bar. Brentford, as you come to, just on the attack down the left-hand side. Low crossing, gone behind for a corner. 16 minutes gone here, Barry. It is still still Brentford 1, Wolves 1, sorry.
Excellent. Let's get across to the game. Let's go to West Ham, shall we? West Ham United 1, Ipswich Town 1. And another chance for West Ham in that game came with us.
Yeah, West Ham break down the left, and Kudus uses the run of Emerson as a decoy to cut inside and shoot into the gloves of Muric. A good opportunity as the goal opened up there, but Anthony Taylor, the referee, is really not impressed at all with the Ipswich goal scorer. Delap just went to ground far too easy under the challenge from Tadibo. But a really end-to-end game so far. Ipswich have scored 4 goals in the first 15 minutes of the first half this season. West Ham have conceded 5 goals in the first 15 minutes of games so far this year. So really, hopefully it'll be an entertaining game with more goals so far. But 16 minutes in, still West Ham 1, Ipswich 1.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you very much. Let's hear about their goal at the King Power, shall we? Jacob Collett is watching this one, and Leicester City have the lead.
Indeed they do. Facundo Buonanotte went it alone. He had options, he took none of them, and he scored an absolute cracker. He was sent through by James Justin, who chipped the ball delightfully over the top. He cut inside and fired with his left foot. It's an absolutely wonderful goal, and you have to say a little bit against the run of play. Bournemouth immediately ran up the other end with Justin Cliver, who very nearly scored, as the Leicester defence was in all sorts of shambles, probably celebrating.
Oh, we seem to have lost Jacob there for a moment, and anyway, let's get back to the action. I told you about Michael Obafemi scoring for Plymouth Argyle. It's his first goal of the season. He's on loan from Burnley, the big rivals for Blackburn Rovers, of course, and he's gone and scored this afternoon. And let's get across to Well, where should we go next? Well, we're not going to go to Brentford because it's all happening there. There's a VAR penalty check for Brentford in that game. We'll get back to Russ Vernon once that's ironed itself out. And if it is a penalty, then it will be Russ to tell us all about it. There's been a goal in our game in the Bundesliga. 5 minutes into stoppage time in the first half. It's now Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 1. The newly promoted side, desperate for a win to climb away from the bottom of the table, have gone and got themselves a goal back. And I can tell you, there has been a goal in the game at the G-Tech. Brentford have scored. It's 2-1 in that game. Brentford 2, Wolves 1. It's that man again, Brian Mbeumo from the penalty spot. What a couple of great volleys he got last weekend and the weekend before. First minute goals, but he's had to wait until, the 20th minute before scoring today. I don't think he would have volleyed this one in. It's a penalty, but he scored again. He's a great player, Brian Mbeumo. I've really liked him for a couple of years now, and he's scored for Brentford. We'll be across to Russ Vernon to hear about that goal in a minute. Let's get across to Richard Freckleton. He's watching the game in Germany at the Bayer Arena. Bayer Leverkusen were in complete control, but right on the stroke of half-time, and indeed the half-time whistle has just gone. Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 1, and they're right back in it, Holstein Kiel.
Yes, they are, Barry. It's Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 1. Now, Bayer Leverkusen have been criticised a lot this season about the goals they've conceded. That's the 11th goal they've conceded this season already in what is their 6th game. A simple corner, set piece, in-swinging corner, and there was Geschwil to plant the header home, leaving Heradici with no chance of saving. And it's the perfect time to actually score a goal to get back into this game, considering they've been dominating the game so much. Bayer Leverkusen, this is a shock for the crowd here at the Bayer Arena. But at half-time, it's Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 1.
Thank you very much for that, Richard. Let's get across to Russ Vernon. He's watching the game in West London at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford back in front thanks to a goal from a very familiar goal-scoring name.
Yes, it is, Barry. Brian Mbeumo steps up from the spot after Collins was fouled. Lamina had his arms around his neck. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, Barry. And Brian Mbeumo waited for Sam Johnston to commit and then slotted it the opposite way from the spot. No mistake from the formidable Brian Mbeumo for Brentford. It's now Brentford 2, Wolves 1, and Wolves manager Gary O'Neill not happy with the decision, but I can't see why he's not happy, because it was a clear penalty. I'm surprised the referee didn't give it on the field, if I'm honest, Barry. We're still Brentford 2, Wolves 1, 21 minutes gone.
Cheers, Russ. 2 games without a goal in the Premier League are the 2 games we expected the 2 home teams to win comfortably. So far, that's not the case. Arsenal on top against Southampton 0-0. Manchester City 0, Fulham 0. No goals in this game, but Paul James can tell us about a yellow card for a Fulham player.
Yeah, Sander Berg went into the back of Ilkay Gundogan and picked up the yellow card. I feel it was a bit harsh. It was his first foul. Manchester City were nearly caught out at the back with a long ball from Sasa Lukic, which Rico Lewis didn't deal with very well. Out-muscled by Adama Traore, and Adama Traore forced a really good save out of Ederson with his feet, but it's still 0-0 here, 22 minutes gone.
So 22 minutes gone, and still 0-0 between Manchester City and Fulham. Let's get back to West Ham against Ipswich. That one's all square, but we've had a goal apiece. Watching this one for us is Kane Wears. Kane, West Ham have had a couple of chances since Ipswich have equalised. What's the state of play as we stand?
Yeah, and West Ham are still trying to get control, of the game, and Ipswich are doing well of pushing their fullbacks high and wide and really getting at them in transitions, but the home supporters, the groans and the moans, we've just seen Kudus get the ball and really be direct and get 1v1 at the Ipswich fullback, and it went out of play and there was groans, while you see the contrast of the Ipswich fans who are enjoying life in the London Stadium this afternoon. But I think both teams are starting to settle down into the game now, and both managers shouting their instructions from the sideline, but not really much going on now, just after a corner from that was met by Amari Hutchinson. But yeah, nothing really coming off at the minute, but still West Ham 1, Ipswich 1.
Excellent. Arsenal against Southampton this afternoon. Paul James is watching this one. It's the Ramsdale show, and so far he's keeping them at bay, isn't he?
He is, yes. Mostly, they've had a number of corners, Arsenal, in this game. I count about 6 so far. They've had about 5 blocked shots, 2 shots off target. Southampton are the only team in this game to actually have had a shot on target. It was a sort of half attempt by Tyler Dibble, an easy save by David Raya. But yeah, mostly possession has been in the Arsenal camp at the moment, and they just need a goal, really. 25 minutes on the clock, still Arsenal 0, Southampton 0.
And of course that was Jack Hesson, not Paul James. He can only be in one place at the time. He's at the Etihad, not at the Emirates. Easy mistake to make. Sorry, Jack, I misintroduced you there, but I'm sure all is okay. Thank you very much, Jack. So 0-0 in those 2 games. Brentford 2, Wolves 1. It's West Ham 1, Ipswich 1, Bayer Leverkusen at half-time 2-1 up on Holstein Kiel. And Leicester City, thanks to Buonanotte, on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion, against South Coast opposition as well today. Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0. Some breaking news coming in. We heard yesterday Paul Pogba had his 4-year ban for a doping offence reduced to 18 months. Of course, he served a large chunk of that. He was successful with his appeal at the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, yesterday. Sources close to the 31-year-old Juventus midfielder have said that he can now resume training in January 2025. He will be eligible to play from March. Well, today his club Juventus have come out and stated that they have released Paul Pogba from his contract. It's been terminated with immediate effect, so he is available for a free transfer. It'll be interesting to see where he goes, but Paul Pogba will be back with boots on before the end of the season. I just wonder if Saudi Arabia calls. We shall wait and see with vested interest. I'm sure he is going to be subject to quite a bit of interest. 1 or 2 clubs will certainly want him, but maybe the Middle East is the way for him. We need some goals, don't we? So let's get a couple more. It's all happening at the G-Tech. Brentford 2, Wolves 2. Wolves with an equalising goal. Jurgen Strand Larsen. And what about this? Sit down tight and listen to this for a scoreline. Manchester City 0, Fulham 1. Andreas Pereira with the goal for Fulham. It's only his 2nd goal in the Premier League since the beginning of last season. But Fulham, who are in great form at the moment, are ahead. Let's get back to Leicester, shall we? First of all, we'll hear about those goals in just a second. Let's quickly get to Jacob Collock, who's watching Leicester against Bournemouth. A chance for Bournemouth to equalise, Jacob.
Yes, indeed. It came from a corner, one from a corner. On rushing came one of the Bournemouth players who managed to just fire a shot, but it was blocked out. It's been a very back and forth game. Leicester have looked about better since scoring the goal, but Bournemouth just getting themselves back into it. It's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
Oh, it's raining goals this afternoon. Hallelujah. Russ Vernon, well, he's being swept off his feet quite literally at the G-Tech, because I just told you about a Wolves equaliser to make it 2-2. Brentford have gone straight up the other end and made it 3-2. It's now Brentford 3, Wolves 2. Christian Norgard with a 3rd goal for Brentford. 5 goals in 28 minutes in that game. Let's get across... we'll save ourselves for that one. Where should we go first? Let's go and talk to Paul James. He is at the Etihad. This one isn't quite going according to plan, Paul.
No, this is a Barry, I'm speechless. This goal was impotent if I've ever seen. It was amazing. It was picked up on the corner of the penalty area by the Nigerian Alex Iwobi. He played the ball into the penalty area and then he just backheeled it. Raul Jimenez just backheeled it with his heel. And coming on to the end of it was Pereira just getting ahead of Manuel Akanji to make it 1-0. But if you get the chance to see that goal later, Please watch it. It was a beautiful back heel by Raul Jimenez to set that goal up. It's Manchester City 0, Fulham 1.
I will make it a prerogative, Paul James, to watch that game and that goal over and over and over again, I'm sure. Manchester City 0, Fulham 1. I rather enjoy reading out those type of scorelines. A chance for Ipswich at West Ham this afternoon. It's 1-1 in that game, but a chance for Ipswich. Kane Wears.
Yeah, just an opportunity for Calvin Phillips, who's been jeered all game since his mistake led to the West Ham opener, but he just receives the ball just in the centre of the park, opens up about 25 yards out, just fires a shot, really venomous shot, and it just clears Areola's crossbar. Really good opportunity for Ipswich, who are really starting to take more control of the game now, which isn't to the interest of the home fans here. But 29 minutes played, still West Ham 1, Ipswich 1.
Well, down in West London 7 days ago, Chelsea were 4-2 up at half-time against Brighton, and it all went rather dull in the second half. I'm not trying to draw comparisons here, Russ Vernon, but you've seen 5 goals so far in this game. I hope it's not going to dry up for you, but it's been some games so far. Brentford ahead again. Tell us about those last 2 goals.
Yes, Barry, what a game I'm watching here. It's a fantastic game, end-to-end stuff. First of all, Strand Larson gets in front of his man after a brilliant ball across from A. Nouri to make it 2-2. Fantastic goal across in front of his man, really well. And then down at the other end, it was a fantastic bit of play from Brentford. Norgod slipped in on the right hand side of the penalty area for Brentford's side, left for Wolves, and he hit it across the goal beyond Sam Johnston in the Wolves goal to put Brentford back into the lead. I'm having a field day about with the goals. Sorry to everybody else who hasn't got any goals just yet. But what a game this is here. It's Brentford 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2.
Well, the only game without a goal is Arsenal against Southampton, so why don't we get across to Jack Hesson, who can tell us why there's no goals.
Yeah, Arsenal just can't find the way to put the ball in the back of the net at the moment. There was a good chance just as you came to him there. Gabriel Jesus, some good footwork in the box, managed to feed it into Kai Havertz, but once again a Southampton man was in the way to block the shot, and really that's been the story of the game so far. Arsenal can't actually register a shot on target because there's always a Southampton man in front of them. 30 minutes on the clock, it's still Arsenal 0, Southampton 0.
Well, just a couple of minutes ago, we heard about a fantastic goal for Fulham to take the lead away at Manchester City for Andres Pereira. They could have made it 2-0 with a big chance just a few moments ago, but I can tell you it's now Manchester City 1, Fulham 1. An equaliser for Manchester City. We'll tell you who the goal scorer is, and we'll hear all about that goal in just a few moments' time. Let's get across to the game between West Ham and Ipswich Town. Still 1-1 in this game. Bit of a break in play for an injury to Paquetá.
Yeah, Lucas Paquetá been down for a good minute after a crunching challenge from Phillips, but neither side actually fancied knocking the ball out to play. Eventually it's been a break in play, all a bit comical to be honest, on how nobody fancied stopping it for the Brazilian to receive treatment, but he's receiving that treatment now, and hopefully an opportunity for Lopetegui to get his players back together and get them focused on the task in hand and try and pick up their first win so far this season. But 31 minutes played, still West Ham 1, Ipswich 1.
I can tell you that it's Kovacic that has scored. Mateo Kovacic has scored for Manchester City 1-1. We'll hear about that goal in a minute. Let's get across to Leicester City against Bournemouth. Another chance for Bournemouth. They're knocking on the door looking for this equaliser, aren't they, Jacob Collick?
Yes, they're knocking on the door, but Leicester are defending quite well for a team that haven't earned a clean sheet all season. Another corner for Bournemouth. Semenya received the ball in the middle of the pitch and fired a snapshot, but it hit about 3 or 4 Leicester defenders. It would have had to go through if it was going to be a goal. Leicester took the ball and then tried to run up the other end. It's been a back and forth game, very non-stop. I'm hoping to see a few more goals. It's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
Just 6 goals under our radar with our reporters this afternoon. Half-time in 1, 10 minutes to go to half-time in the other 5, and we've already had 13 goals in those 6 games. That's not bad, is it? Let's hear about one of those goals, the latest one to go in. It's been scored by the Premier League champions, Manchester City, level against Fulham. Here's Paul James.
Yes, isn't that the way the cookie crumbles? What an opportunity, first of all, for Fulham. The ball was played into Alex Iwobi by the previous goal scorer Pereira. Alex Iwobi pulled the ball into the middle, and there was Adama Traore 6 yards out. All he had to do was put it either side of the goalkeeper, and he put it over the crossbar. And then Manchester City, coming forward for the goal, gave away a corner on the left-hand side, and the corner was swung in by Gundogan. It came out to just inside the 18-yard box to Kovacic. He struck it beautifully, but it took an unfortunate deflection off Joachim Andersen, and it diverted Leno the wrong way. And now it's Manchester City 1, Fulham 1, with 34 minutes gone here.
Oh, well, that's the way it goes, isn't it? So Manchester City level, Arsenal level, West Ham level, Brentford 3-2 up on Wolves, and Leicester have a slender lead against Bournemouth, who are knocking on the door at half-time. It's Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 1. They're just about to get underway in the second half in that one at the Bay Arena. Quick recap on what happened last night in the action around Europe. Scott McTominay scoring inside the first minute for Napoli, his first Napoli goal. The former Manchester United man striking to give Napoli an early lead. They beat newly promoted Como by 3-1. Romelu Lukaku on loan from Chelsea, amongst the goals in that victory. In France, Marseille wasted the opportunity to close in on PSG and Monaco, the top two in that league, of course. They were held 1-1 at home by winless bottom club Angers last night. Neil Maupay of Marseille sent off in that game, as was the Angers defender Lilian Realicio. Both those players sent off in the opening half an hour. First time since 2011 that two players were sent off in the opening half an hour of a game in the French Ligue 1. Englishman Jonathan Rose spurning a good chance early on in the first half, but in the second half spun brilliantly to score an opener for Marseille. It was a lead that they held on to for just 3 minutes. Farid El Melali, the Algerian international, scoring his first goal in over 3 years. In the English Championship, don't look if you're a Leeds fan at the late goal. Poor old Meslier, the Leeds goalkeeper, missing the ball completely in the dying embers of added time. It ended up Sunderland 2, Leeds United 2. All my waffling, and I haven't missed a goal, so don't worry too much. Let's get around the ground, shall we? Arsenal against Southampton is still 0-0 within 10 minutes of half-time. And Aaron Ramsdale on his return to the Emirates. So far, so good, I think it's fair to say, Jack Hesson.
Yeah, so far so good. He's made a couple of clutch saves in sort of important times. He's made himself look big in goals so far. And generally has had a good game. That Southampton defence, they've been pinned back, but they have defended quite resolutely. Arsenal trying to get into high press, and it's almost coming up for them, but just not enough at the moment. 35 minutes on the clock. Still Arsenal now, Southampton now.
Let's get off from the Emirates to the Etihad. Manchester City all level with Fulham. It sounds like quite an interesting game, this one, Paul James.
Yeah, City are going for the juggler now. What an opportunity, this time on the corner of the penalty area on the left-hand side. It was picked up by Phil Foden. He struck the shot towards Bert Leno's right-hand side, but the German international got down and made a very smart save. But City on the front foot right now with 36 minutes gone. It's 1-1.
Another game that's 1-1 at the moment is the game between West Ham United and Ipswich Town. Kane Wears is watching this one for us.
Yeah, just as if came to relief, Davis has played a lovely ball down the line to release Delap, and he fancies himself up against Tadibo 1v1, the foot race. They go side by side, but then the Ipswich centre-forward throws himself to the ground, and Anthony Taylor isn't interested and doesn't give a penalty. A really end-to-end game so far, and good opportunities for both sides, but still West Ham 1, Ipswich 1.
And let's get across to Russ Vernon. He's gone at least 5 minutes without a goal. Brentford 3, Wolves 2 last time we were there. Is that still the case, Russ?
It is, Barry. Brentford knocking on to try and get a fourth goal, but nothing's falling from at the moment in the penalty area. Ethan Pinnock had a chance, but he just went wide, and they had a chance a few moments ago as well, which was just given offside. But so far, 37 minutes on the clock. It is Brentford 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2.
Leicester City have not won in the Premier League this season. Is today the day? Well, at the moment, so far so good. Bournemouth have been knocking on the door, but it remains 1-0 to Leicester, doesn't it, Jacob Collick?
Yes, it's so far so good for Leicester, but it could have been even better. Jamie Vardy managed to get in a great position. Buonanotte just passing the ball to him as he snuck in behind the defence. But he's just got it all wrong as he tried to get the ball past the on-rushing Kepa Arrizabalaga, and the ball rolled wide. You would have expected the net to bulge after that, but sadly it remains Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0, 39 minutes in.
And successfully getting around all 6 games without a goal going in somewhere to scupper our little full house adventure. Let's head into the Bundesliga, to the Bayer Arena. Bayer Leverkusen, the champions, 2-1 up at half-time against Holstein Kiel. We're into the second half, Richard Freckleton.
Yes, Barry, it's just started. Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 1. And that really shocked the crowd, that last minute goal just before half-time to get Holstein Kiel back in the game. But they've started well again in the second half, Bayer Leverkusen, just like they did in the first half. But so far, there's been no chances as such, but they've been very much on top so far in the second half. But it remains Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 1.
Live and exclusive to Brila FM. You are tuned in to Football Live.
So we've got so much coming up on Football Live. We're covering everything in England, in Germany, in Italy, in Spain, in Saudi Arabia, in Nigeria. You name it, we've got it covered here on Football Live.
Our fantastic team of reporters will be bringing you all the goals as they go in the biggest games across the footballing world.
We love a bit of drama here on Football Live, and we've plenty of it this afternoon.
Visit the official Football Live website and find out more about the show and the people behind Football Live. Visit www.footballliveshow.uk and follow us on X at FootBLiveShow.
It's an absolute cracker. Fantastic.
Incredible, amazing, unbelievable,
sensational.
Fantastic. This is amazing on Football Live.
Around the ground, chasing the goals. You are listening to Football Live.
Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
A good type of game of football.
From the beginning. Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live.
Join corner where the big boys play.
You are listening live to Football Live.
Here is your host, Barry Swain.
Yes, and it's been a fairly good afternoon in terms of goals for us right here on Football Live. Let's just quickly recap the scores in the 6 games that we are featuring this afternoon. First of all, in the Bundesliga, they're into the second half now. The champions, Bayer Leverkusen, 2-1 up on Holstein Kiel. Arsenal 0, Southampton 0. We'll be across to the Emirates in just a moment. It's Brentford 3, Wolves 2, Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 1, Fulham 1, and West Ham 1. Ipswich Town 1. Let's get across to the Emirates. That's the only game without a goal, but not for the want of trying on Arsenal's part, Jack Hesson.
Yeah, and they came close once again. Bukayo Saka with space on the right-hand side, finds Jorginho just outside the edge of the area, bags the space and time to go for a shot, and it fizzes towards the bottom right-hand corner, but just goes about a yard wide of the post. 41 minutes on the clock, still Arsenal 0, Southampton 0.
Thank you very much. Let's get across to Kane Weird. Another chance for West Ham United up against Ipswich Town this afternoon, Kane.
Yeah, it's about 40 minutes in so far, and all West Ham have done is cross the ball into the box into a 6'6" goalkeeper who makes it so much easier. And now actually West Ham have worked out when they get the ball down and play and go and press high, they can create chances. And Muric tries to play her from the back, gives the ball a poor pass to Sam Morsey, who then gives it straight to Antonio, who just plays it to Souček about 5 yards out from the goal. And O'Shea throws himself in front of the shot and clears it off the line. And then again another opportunity where it's just persistence from pressing there, and it's Kudus who wins it high up the pitch, sets up Paqueta for a first time shot, who just whips it into the body of Muric in there. West Ham are really starting to get a little bit more control of the game so far, but 42 minutes played, still West Ham 1, Ipswich 1.
Let's get back to the King Power. Jacob Collock is watching Leicester City against Bournemouth. A yellow card for the Ghana international. Jordan Ayew.
Yes, indeed. It was really quite poor from Jordan Ayew. It led just after Leicester had won the ball back of Coley with an important interception preventing Kluivert from getting in behind the Leicester defence. But Ayew receives the ball, his touch is heavy, and he slides in on Senesi to try and win the ball back, sending him absolutely flying, earning himself a yellow card. Bournemouth do absolutely nothing with the resulting free kick, sending the ball straight out of play. I think both of these teams look about ready to go in for half-time, as it remains 1-0 to Leicester against Bournemouth.
Thank you very much. Let's get back to Manchester City against Fulham. Paul James is watching this one for us, and the champions haven't had it all their own way, although they have had the better of the first 40 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's actually very true, Barry. I mean, Fulham have had their chances, of course, both of them falling really to Adama Traore, but just before you joined us, Jack Grealish got down the left-hand side, swung the cross to the back post, and there was Bernardo Silva with a header, but his header, I think he was caught between heading the ball towards the goal and looking for Haaland on the back post, and in the end he got neither right and it just went wide. 1-1.
West Ham United 2, Ipswich Town 1. Mohamed Kudus with the goal just a minute before half-time to give the Hammers the lead against the Tractor Boys. West Ham 2, Ipswich 1. We'll be across to Kane Wears in just a few minutes' time to hear about that goal right on the stroke of half-time. So a big goal there for West Ham to give them the lead, and it proved to be, well, could be the last of the action in the first half there, but Mohamed Kudus had a fabulous season last season, and he's in amongst the goals this time around too. The Guinea international Mo Silla has been sent off for Dundee in the SPFL, the Scottish Premiership, second bookable offence in their game this afternoon. So he gets the red card, Mohamed Silla, and he is off just before half-time in that game. Where should we go next? Let's go to West Ham and hear about that second goal. And a goal, Kudos, right on half-time. Kane Wills.
Yeah, and it's been coming. It's Paqueta's cross from the left. It's met by a header of Antonio. And his effort comes back off the underside of the crossbar. But Mohamed Kudus is fastest to react. And his downward header finds the net, fires it past Muric. So far, such an end-to-end game. We've just kicked straight back off again. And Ipswich have went up the other end there. And Delap's thrown himself around already to try and create some chances. Really end-to-end game so far. But West Ham take the lead. 45 minutes played. West Ham 2, Ipswich 1.
Well, we haven't had a goal at Brentford for about 3 minutes, have we? Well, we have now. It's Brentford 4, Wolves 2. 6 goals in the first half, just like at Stamford Bridge. West London on a Saturday afternoon is obviously the place to be. Brentford 4, West Ham 2. We'll hear about, Brentford 4, Wolves 2. Let's get the opposition right. There are 4 minutes of added time at the end of that half. We're halfway through it, and I can tell you, another goal for Russburn. He's seen 6 goals in that game so far. We'll be across to hear about that. I can tell you, a half-time whistle has just blown in the game between Manchester City and Fulham. We'll be across to hear a half-time in that one. Only 1 minute of added time in the game between Manchester City and Fulham. That is now half-time, and it is a 1-1. Let's get back to Leicester City against Bournemouth. Jamie Vardy has been in on the action and came close to another goal for Leicester. Jacob Collick.
Indeed, Wout Faes from the defence launched the ball up into the air, and Vardy collected it very nicely, bringing it down before absolutely leathering it over the bar and into the stands. It wasn't an overly impressive finish, and I think he would have been offside anyway, but Leicester are just closing out this half with a strong period for them. It's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
Let's get back to Paul James, who has been watching the first half action. It is half-time now at the Etihad. Manchester City against Fulham.
Yes, thank you, Barry. Manchester City 1, Fulham 1. And yes, Manchester City have definitely not had it their own way. The first goal of the game was scored by Fulham by Andres Pereira from a cheeky back heel from Raul Jimenez. And the equaliser from Mateo Kovacic, who had a shot deflected, which took it away from Bert Leno. Chances for Fulham fell both to Adama Traore, who forced a good save from the goalkeeper and ballooned one over the bar. from 6 yards out. But it's half-time here. It's 1-1.
Beginning to lose count of all the goals that are going in at Brentford. A 6th goal in that game. Brentford have got 4 of them. To tell us about their 4th goal, here's Russ Vernon.
Yes, Barry, fantastic goal there from Brentford, who was a fantastic header at the back post from Ethan Pinnock from a corner, which was taken by Nathan Collins. We're still playing here with around about less than 90 seconds to go in the first half. Brentford 4, Wolves 2 is the scoreline, and Brentford have been good value for their lead. Wolves have tried. I've got 2 goals, but since the second Wolves goal, Brentford have been on top. Coming towards the end of the first half, with about a minute to go, is Brentford 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2.
Oh, wow, we've given you a game and a half there, haven't we, Russ? Thank you very much. Still going in the first half in that game. So it's half-time at the Etihad. We've already heard from Paul James, Manchester City 1, Fulham 1. Not going Manchester City's way. It's now half-time in the game between Arsenal and Southampton. And it's not going Arsenal's way, is it, Jack Hesson?
It's not, and Arsenal will be sitting there wondering at half-time what on earth more they can do, because they cannot break down this Southampton defence in the first half. It really was a first half of frustration. Chances did come for them. There was an opportunity for Kai Havertz, close range, he opted to try and square it across, it was cleared. A chance near the end of the half for Raheem Sterling, blocked on the line by Bednarek. It was goal bound and he was there to clear it away, and the first shot on target for Arsenal came in the 46th minute. It was a shot by Partey towards Ramsdale, and that was the only save that Ramsdale had to make in the entire first half. So I count 8 blocked shots, 5 shots off target, and just a 1 shot on target for Southampton. Arsenal have had 69% possession, but they have no goals. Arsenal 0, Southampton 0 at half time.
Let's cross back into the Bundesliga. Victor Boniface, the Nigerian international, scored an early goal for Bayer Leverkusen this afternoon to give them a lead against Holstein Kiel. They are still in the lead by 2-1. He's had a goal disallowed in the first half, and he's come mighty close, Richard Freckleton, with a header.
Yes, indeed, Barry. It still remains Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 1. A beautiful ball from a set piece from the former Arsenal player Xhaka. Which was all right on the 6-yard spot, and Boniface really had a good chance to power the header on target, but he put it wide. They're frustrating Bayer Leverkusen after that fast start to the first 10 minutes, and he's wondering whether Holstein Kiel can actually get back into this game. But so far it remains Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 1.
Half-time whistles have blown in all 5 of the Premier League games, so let's get around the grounds and hear about the first half action. Let's go to Leicester City against Bournemouth. Is this to be the Foxes' first win of the season? Well, they're going the right way around it, Jacob Collick, 1-0 up at half-time.
Indeed they are, and it's been an interesting game, very back and forth. Both teams have shown a lot of attacking intent and defensive frailty. Leicester go in with this slender 1-0 advantage, courtesy of Facundo Buonanotte, with the only goal. A fantastic solo effort as he cut in onto his left foot and fired past the goalkeeper. Bournemouth will be frustrated though. They had a few chances, including a header from Senesi in the 5th minute that went narrowly wide, and claims of handball in the box not given by the referee or the VAR. Vardy had a couple of chances as well, but if results stay this way, Leicester will have their first win, their first clean sheet, and will sit only a point behind Manchester United in the league, so it's hard to complain about that. They'll be hoping for a little bit more in the second half, as it went 1-0 to Leicester against Bournemouth.
Excellent, thank you very much, Jacob. Let's quickly get around those last 2 games that we can hear about. At half-time, West Ham United leading Ipswich by 2-1. Here's Kane Wears.
What an entertaining half that was at the London Stadium, and Julian Lopetegui's desperate for his first win in the Premier League on home soil, and his West Ham side lead Ipswich at the break. Mikel Antonio's first minute opener was cancelled out by Liam Delap, but Mohamed Kudus' close range header on the stroke of half time has restored the home side's advantage. And half time at the London Stadium, it's West Ham 2, Ipswich 1.
Oh, nearly got it wrong there, Kane. I would have. Let's go to Brentford against Wolves. Now, we could probably forgive Russ Vernon if he got the scoreline wrong, because there's been quite a few goals in this one. Brentford against Wolves, half-time has come, and this man, Russ Vernon, can give us the half-time report, and then he can have a breather.
Yes, thank you very much, Barry. Half-time score is Brentford 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2. That's right, Brentford 4, Wolves 2. Nathan Collins up the scoring after just 2 minutes, heading home from a fantastic cross from the right-hand side. Then Matheus Cunha equalised on 4 minutes, getting the comeback from the right-hand side as well from Semedo. Brentford then were awarded a penalty for the VAR decision, definite penalty as Lamina had the hands around the neck of Collins. Well, then Buemo then stepped up and sent Sam Johnston the wrong way. Strand Larson then equalised 6 minutes later as he knocked in, going front to his mark and to knock in a ball in from the left-hand side. Nørgaard then received a brilliant pass on the right-hand side into the across the face of the goal, into the bottom corner to make it 3-2. And then just before the end of the first half, a corner kick from Nathan Collins, who got the scoring underway, found Ethan Pinnock at the back post to make it Brentford 4, Wolves 2 at half-time.
Oh, he's done very well there, hasn't he, Russ, to keep that all inside a minute. Well done, Russ. Go and take a breather, take a drink. A cup of coffee will probably do the trick. We're going to be handing back to Brila FM for a short break at half-time. In just a few moments' time, it's your chance to put your views across. What are your thoughts on Arsenal being held, Manchester City being held, Liverpool scraping a 1-0 victory early on? We haven't even heard anything about that game. I haven't mentioned it. The reason for that is it's been such an exciting first half of action in the Premier League this afternoon with so many goals. It was a rather drab affair at Crystal Palace. Palace 0, Liverpool 1. Should have actually been a whole lot more goals. Palace should have scored a couple. But Alisson, the goalkeeper, goes off with a hamstring injury. He's going to be out for the foreseeable. And Kevin Callahan is currently out injured as well for Liverpool. So they had to bring on their third choice goalkeeper for the latter stages of that one. That's a talking point. Plenty of talking points this afternoon. We've still got the second half to come. I'm going to go and take a breather right now and hand you back to FJ and the team at Brila FM. We'll be back in 5.
You are listening live to Football Live. Why not find out some more about Football Live? Visit our website www.footballliveshow.uk.
Don't forget there are 3 L's in Football Live.
Meet the people behind Football Live and find out more about the show. You can follow Football Live on X at FootBLiveShow. That's FootBLiveShow. You are listening live to Football Live.
Around the grounds, chasing down the goals.
And you could not have scripted this.
What an absolute beauty.
VAR, you are a disgrace.
And he's got the goal.
My goodness me, what a strike.
What a finish.
You are tuned in to Football Live.
Okay guys, welcome to the weekly Football Live production meeting. I've got a great idea. We go out and we ask all the top football managers what they think of the show. Let's do this.
Jurgen Klopp, are you a fan of Football Live?
It's super. It's just super. It's really a top.
Mikel Arteta, how good is Football Live?
I've been really impressed.
Pep, Football Live love you, but do you love Football Live?
They are unique and I enjoy a lot.
Sean Dyche, do you listen to Football Live, the greatest football show on earth?
What you're talking about now? They know and I know, and you probably do know, they've made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Okay, so we need to work on Sean Dyche.
It's an absolute cracker. Fantastic.
Incredible, amazing, unbelievable.
Sensational.
Fantastic. This is amazing on Football Live.
You can interact on today's show on X at FootBLiveShow. That's FootBLiveShow. That's FootBLiveShow on X. We'd love to hear from you.
It's time to get straight into the action.
When you hear that noise, you know there's been a goal.
With the best reporters in the business.
What an afternoon of football. It's been absolutely fantastic. We've got even more coming up for you.
With the best unrivaled football coverage on the air.
Football Live really is the place to be this afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. And a warm welcome to the biggest and best football show on the radio.
If you've only just joined us, where on earth have you been? The goals are absolutely flying in.
And you could not have scripted this.
Well, I said the wheels were falling off. Wheels, the doors, the steering wheel, it's all come off. What an absolute beauty.
That's okay, I've been called a lot worse.
Well, what about that?
It's just gorgeous, gorgeous football. Describe to me what's just happened. Kulusevski, it's a fantastic header. What a goal.
Nobody has the answers.
It just had to be him.
A fairy tale return for Ivan Toney. This is amazing on Football Live.
That's why we love Football Live, because it has been a pulsating afternoon on Football Live.
Absolutely sensational.
Visit the official Football Live website and find out more about the show and the people behind Football Live. Visit www.footballliveshow.uk and follow us on X at FootBLiveShow. Live and exclusive to Brila FM. You are tuned in to Football Live.
Hello and a very good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Absolute screamer.
Banging form into dreamland.
Oh my God, they were crying.
What was he doing in the box?
Check my phone, mate, he's not in there.
He looks thoroughly disgusted.
They've been absolutely brilliant. They're the proper.
So much to tell you about.
So much going on.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
In the Premier League, you just never know.
You are listening to Football Live.
So we've got so much coming up on Football Live. We're covering everything in England, in Germany, in Italy, in Spain, in Saudi Arabia, in Nigeria. You name it, we've got it covered here on Football Live.
Our fantastic team of reporters will be bringing you all the goals as they go in the biggest games across the footballing world.
We love a bit of drama here on Football Live, and we've plenty of it this afternoon.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live.
Join find a corner where the big boys play.
Let's get back to the big match action.
You are listening live to Football Live.
Here is your host, Barry Swain.
Well, welcome back, and I'm just being ushered back into the studio here, where I can tell you that straight away, we're going to bring you another goal. The goals are flying in, whether it be in the Bundesliga or in the Premier League. There's a little bit of giveaway. It's half-time in the 5 games in the Premier League at the moment, so this one has to be in the Bundesliga. It's Bayer Leverkusen 2, and it is Holstein Kiel 2. 2-0 up in that game and cruising, it seemed, Bayer Leverkusen. Well, they do tend to score late on, don't they? So don't be surprised if there's a late winner coming for Bayer Leverkusen. But let's hear about that equaliser from Richard Freckleton. 2-2 at the Bayer Arena.
Yes, indeed, Barry. What a shock this is. Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 2. Penalty given where Frimpong made the foul inside the box. The referee had no hesitation in giving the foul. And who stepped up but Fiat Arp to slot away the penalty to make it 2-2. This is a major surprise, but as you say, Barry, they do have a habit of scoring last-minute goals at Bayer Leverkusen, but they have been shocked by this. After being 2-0 up, it's now Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 2.
Thank you very much. FJ did ask me a question just a few moments ago before handing back. When was the last time that Fulham won at Manchester City? With the answer to that one was the 12th of April 2009. Quite a while ago. What a Fulham team that was. 1-0 down at half-time, and they won by 3 goals to 1. Clint Dempsey with 2 goals and Dixon had 2. with a goal as well. Stephen Ireland scored the opener for Manchester City. Oh, they were the days. 3-1 win this afternoon for Fulham away at Manchester City. Please, would be nice, wouldn't it? Well, never mind. It's not going to happen, but that was the last time. So I managed to get the answer to that question without looking it up. I remember the date. I didn't even have to look it up. I remember the date. It's etched on my mind, the 12th of April. 2009, 3-1. I even know the goal scorers. The kick-off in the second half in the games in the Premier League just starting to get underway. The first game to get underway is, ironically, Manchester City against Fulham. They've just kicked off in the second half. Paul James is our man there. We'll go across to him in a little while. Let's give you a recap of the half-time, shall we, in the Premier League. If you don't know already, you're just joining us for whatever reason. Half-times, Arsenal 0, Southampton 0. Clean sheet in the first half for Aaron Ramsdale on his return to Arsenal. Brentford 4, Wolves 2. Wolves can score goals, but the trouble is they can concede them as well. Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 1, Fulham 1, and West Ham United 2, Ipswich Town 1. Ipswich Town turning into a little bit of a draw expert, and West Ham have drawn a few too, so that might be a draw on the cards in many people's eyes there. But it was looking for a long time like it was going to end up in a draw, and it's 2-1 to West Ham. 2-1 to the home side. Manchester City have wasted no time in getting their noses in front in their game against Fulham. Just 2 minutes into the second half. Most of the other games in the Premier League are only just kicking off. They're a little bit ahead at the Etihad, and I can tell you that Fulham are behind for the first time this afternoon. It's a second goal in the game for Mateo Kovacic. It's Manchester City 2, Fulham 1, and we will hear about that in just a few moments' time. The Arsenal game against Southampton is now underway. Brentford against Wolves, 4-2 in that game. It was 4-2 at Chelsea last week. No second half goals. I hope I'm not tempting fate in a repeat of history there. We hope there are more goals in that game, Brentford against Wolves. I do believe that the two sets of coaching staff will probably tighten things up slightly in the second half. I'll be very surprised if we see too many more goals, but we'll wait and see. Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0 is underway as well. Manchester City Fulham is underway. We'll be back there in just a second to hear about that goal. West Ham 2, Ipswich 1. Let's get to Paul James, who's seen that Manchester City goal. I just said it was going to be 3-1 to Fulham, and it was wishful thinking, wasn't it? It could well end up 3-1 to City, in fact, because they're taking the lead, Paul James.
Yes, indeed. They started the second half very similar to the way they ended the first half. It was a wonderful goal, in fact. Phil Foden got down the left-hand side, got the cross in. It was beautifully chested down by Jack Grealish and right to the feet of Mateo Kovacic, who's a beautiful curling effort that was away from Bert Leno in the Fulham goal. And it's Manchester City 2, Fulham 1. We've had 2 minutes of the second half, Barry. This could be a long half for Fulham.
Oh, OK. Right, 2-1 to Manchester City then in that game. Let's get across to Germany, because at one stage, Bayer Leverkusen 2-0 up and cruising. But Victor Boniface scored a goal disallowed, come very close in the second half. 2-0 up, now it's 2-2. Let's get back to Richard Freckleton, and a really big chance for Holston to take the lead.
Yes, surprise, Barry. My goodness. I mean, it almost was a third goal for Holstein Kiel, but it remains Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 2, but they're at 6s and 7s at the moment. Bayer Leverkusen have been totally stunned by that equaliser, and there was a great chance where a beautiful cross from the right-hand side by Becker to Pichler, who headed it down into the ground, and a fantastic save from Heradicki to put it away for a corner. But they need to regain their composure if they're going to go on and win this game, Bayer Leverkusen. But so far it remains Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 2.
Sounds like a really good game there. Of our 6 games this afternoon, we've had plenty of goals. Still no goals in the game between Arsenal and Southampton. It's a dominant first half from Arsenal, but they've been unable to get past their old goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale. Is it to be one of those afternoons for Arsenal? Well, Jack Hesson is watching this one. He might just be able to give us a clue as to the early stages of the second half. How's it been going? More Arsenal dominance, Jack?
Yeah, second half underway in Arsenal. We had an early chance right off the gate. It was Gabriel Jesus had space just outside the area, and he managed to try and guide a shot to the bottom left-hand corner. But I will tell you, Southampton have had some excellent chances there. There was an opportunity there from Dibley just from close range, and it just goes over the bar. That was so close to Southampton there to really snatch that. 48 minutes on the clock. Arsenal now, Southampton now, and if Arsenal start taking their chances here, then they could be punished.
Interesting. They've got such a good defence, haven't they? Gabriel at the back with his partner, William Saliba. Gabriel this week spoke to us, and here's what he had to say about his partnership with William Saliba.
Everyone knows he's a top player, and he's a good guy, and a footballer. I think he's so calm, a lot of quality, and as everyone say, for me, he's a Rolls Royce.
The Rolls Royce. You're the Rolls. He's the Rolls Royce. What are you?
I don't know. After 10 years, and in 10 years, to the people to remember us need to win trophies, and yeah. But we don't need to go too fast as well, because we just started to play together, and I think we played 2 years together, and yeah, we improve a lot, and we need to continue, and for sure we want to win trophies.
Well, if Arsenal were to win trophies, they need to score goals. There's been a goal in London. It's in East London, though, not North London. Don't get too excited, Arsenal fans. It's gone to West Ham. Jared Bowen with a third goal. West Ham 3, Ipswich Town 1. Let's get across to Jacob Collock. He's watching the game between Leicester City and Bournemouth. Leicester edging towards that first win of the season, maybe. Well, Bournemouth are not going to go down without a fight, and have just hit the woodwork, haven't they, Jacob?
Yes, indeed. Bournemouth have been absolutely swarming Leicester this half. They earned a free kick about halfway down the Leicester half, sent in by Cooked and found by Zabarani, who escaped from that phase. His header was directed just onto the outside of the upright, and it bounced away, but it was as close as Bournemouth have come. They have looked so good this half. Just now, indeed, he was booked for a foul on a Bournemouth player who was making a good run into the box. So they are really clinging on, Leicester. They need to start defending better and get some control in this game if they want to earn that first win of the season. It's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
Thank you very much for that, Jacob. Right, let's get to West Ham, shall we? Kane Wears is watching. It looks like West Ham, after losing their first 3 home games of the season, are on course for their first points at the London Stadium, thanks to a goal from a familiar source, Jared Bowen.
Yeah, what a comedy of errors this is at the back, and Ben Johnson lumps the ball back really to Muric on the volley, and it's a really awkward one to deal with as Antonio puts the goalkeeper Muric under pressure. His first touch is really poor and heavy, and he just avoids getting pounced on by Antonio, but Bowen retrieves the ball, cuts inside Phillips far too easily, and Julie finds the far corner with a curled effort. As I say, 2 goals either side of half time for the Hammers in total control. 49 minutes played. West Ham 3, Ipswich 1.
A second goal of the afternoon for Jeshurun Raksaki on loan from Crystal Palace to Sheffield United. Sheffield United 2-0 up now. His first and second goals for the club. His first goals since April 2023 when he was on loan at Charlton Athletic. He spent the whole season pretty much sitting on the bench for Crystal Palace in the Premier League last season. Just 8 appearances off the bench for them. He's gone out on loan again this season, and that is 2 big goals for Sheffield United. Let's get across to the Etihad. Manchester City 2-1 up on Fulham, having trailed in the first half, and they come close, Paul James, to making it 3-1.
Yes, it really should have been 3-1 actually. It was a corner on the right hand side. Mateo Kovacic nearly turned goal scorer to provider, swung the cross in, and Erling Haaland gets up and has a free header from 7 yards out. He diverts it wide with a wry smile on his face, but it's 2-1. It's still game on though.
Yeah, 2-1, dangerous scoreline. Can still be turned around. Let's get back to the King Power again. And Bournemouth, Jacob Collett, coming close yet again to an equaliser.
Yeah, Ryan Christie just wins the ball on the edge of the area. He makes a good run, but he's not quite got the momentum to fire a powerful enough shot, and it's easily parried away by the keeper for a corner. Bournemouth are pushing and pushing and pushing, and Leicester have to do something here to get some control back in this game. It's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
Yes, and shall we bring you a goal? There's been a goal at the Emirates. Arsenal against Southampton. There's been a goal. It's Arsenal 0, Southampton 1. What about that for a scoreline? Arsenal 0, Southampton 1. A goal after 10 minutes in the second half. They are behind Arsenal, and they're going to have to do it the hard way this afternoon. Oh, my goodness me. So, Arsenal 0, Southampton 1. Let's get across to Jack Hesson, who can tell us all about a goal that not many of us were expecting.
Oh, this is unbelievable. Southampton are stealing this here after that first half dominance from Arsenal. Southampton looking much better in the second half, and have shown their worth there. It was a long ball forward, completely splits the Arsenal defence, and Cameron Archer then feeds it to Mateus Fernandes. Mateus Fernandes bearing down on goal. It's an easy finish into the bottom left-hand corner to beat David Raya, and there we go. That's all she wrote, and sorry, correction there, it was Archer who scored the goal, so the substitute Jordan Archer, who came on at half. Cameron Archer, even, who came on at half time for Ross Stewart, is the goal scorer, and it's Arsenal 0, Southampton 1.
Has Archer just fired an arrow into Arsenal's early season title challenge? We shall see. Only 56 minutes gone. There's still a long way to go there. As Jack Hesson just said, Arsenal 0, Southampton 1. Not many people were expecting that this afternoon. So that gives us a full house. There are no 0-0 draws for you this afternoon on Football Live. That I can guarantee. Let's quickly run through the scores as we have them. We've got about 5 minutes to go in the game between Bayer Leverkusen and Holstein Kiel. Just about getting to injury time. So about 5 minutes time, Bayer Leverkusen will probably get their third goal. We did tell you that earlier on, that Brentford would score in the first minute. They scored in the second. They're 4-2 up against Wolves. All those goals coming in the first half. Southampton 1-0 up at Arsenal. That's a big shock. Manchester City 2, Fulham 1. West Ham 3, Ipswich 1. Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0. And we've also got plenty of goals in the Championship this afternoon, and I'm just having a quick look because I did see a couple of them coming up my way, and they've all disappeared off my screen. Here we go. Derby County 2-0 up on Queen's Park Rangers. Marcus Harness, formerly of Ipswich Town, they could do with his goals today. Well, he scored for Derby this afternoon. They're 2-0 up on QPR. And Watford 0, Middlesbrough 1. George Edmondson with a goal. Curtis Nelson scored the first for Derby. In fact, they scored 2 in the space of a minute in that game to lead Queen's Park Rangers by 2-0. Let's get across to Brentford against Wolves. They've had a bit of a goal drought down there, but there's been a chance, Russ Vernon, for the home side Brentford.
Yes, Barry, fantastic effort from the edge of the penalty. Brandon Bremer with a fantastic shot, saved by the keeper. Comes out to the left-hand side where Keane Lewis Potter is, and he has a shot which was saved. And then a few moments ago, just as you come to me, it's very come to me, Barry, should I say, Christoph Ayer goes into the referee's notebook. He was complaining, and Wolves, as we speak, are about to make a substitution with Chang Wan coming on, and it's the number 7, Andre, coming off. We've not really seen much of Andre. Well, Wang Yi-chan is about to come on now for Wolves. 56 minutes on the clock. It's Brentford 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2.
Well, not quite the shock of the afternoon. Arsenal 0, Southampton was to be the shock of the afternoon, but the Gooners goal machine is back in the groove again. Yes, Kai Havertz has equalised for Arsenal. Southampton were not ahead for very long. Arsenal 1, Southampton 1. It's taken a Southampton goal to kick Arsenal into gear, and they have not taken very long to respond. Kai Havertz again. He is a goal machine, isn't he? Most people would have laughed at me if I said that 6 months ago. But Arsenal are level. It's Arsenal 1, Southampton 1. Quickly, let's give you a quick rundown. By the way, Saint-Etienne, near the bottom in French League 1, have scored through Zurico David-Chavili, and they're ahead after 15 minutes in their big game this afternoon against Auxerre. Right, team news for the late kick-off today. It's Everton against Newcastle United. Everton, Pickford, Keane, Tarkowski, McNeil, Mangala starts, Calvert-Lewin and Dye, Harrison, Decore, Young and Garner. For Newcastle United, Pope in goal. We've got Trippier, Share, Joel Linton, Tonali starting as well. Gordon, Barnes, they both start. Hall, Murphy, Byrne and Bruno Guimaraes the captain. So it looks like Gordon will play up top as there is still no Alexander Isak. That's the late kick-off today. It's Everton against Newcastle United. Everton looking to build on their excellent win last weekend, which of course you heard right here on Football Live. So what an afternoon it has been so far in the Premier League and the Bundesliga. Bayer Leverkusen, we're just 2 minutes away from injury time, so they'll probably score their late goal in a minute. Just wait for it. We've got our reporter Richard Freckleton in place, ready for that goal. You heard it here first. Arsenal 1, Southampton 1, Brentford 4, Wolves 2. Leicester only 1 goal in that game actually, and they're lagging behind a little bit up there, but there's been plenty of excitement. Bournemouth hit the bar, but it's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0. Manchester City have turned it around against Fulham to lead by 2 goals to 1, and it's West Ham 3, Ipswich 1. We haven't heard about that Arsenal equaliser yet, so let's get across to Jack Hesson, who can tell us all about it.
Well, all that resolute defending in the first half for Southampton just shattered in the space of minutes after taking the lead. They had the ball comfortably in their own half, and Flint Downs tries to play like a no-look back pass towards Kyle Walker-Peters to the left-hand side of him. Saka is quick to react. He intercepts the pass, gets it to Kai Havertz. They're caught on the break, and it's a lovely finish into the right-hand side of the corner to beat Aaron Ramsdale, and no more than Arsenal deserve after the first half dominance. 60 minutes on the clock, Arsenal 1, Southampton 1.
Excellent. So Arsenal back on level terms with Kai Havertz, the goal scorer. Let's get around the ground, shall we? Let's go to Brentford's game against Wolves. Plenty of goals there. They're all come in the first half, just like the Chelsea game last week. 6 goals in the first half. So far, none in the second half. We've played an hour, and Bumo scored from the penalty spot in the first half. Russ Vernon perhaps should have just been yellow carded.
Yes, Barry. Craig Dawson was booked in the first half for delaying the restart by pitching the ball onto the pitch when there was about when we were about to take for in the first half. Then Bremer should have been booked for identical the same. He went out for a goal kick to Wolves. He fetched on the ball that they're going to have to play, kicked it towards the penalty area. Is Sam Johnson was about to take a goal kick. The referee doesn't give him a yellow card. Where's the consistency in that? Brentford 4, Wolves 2.
Well, it's to be expected. Consistency, lack of. Right, let's get back to Leicester again. Lack of goals, but not a lack of chances, Jacob Collick. Evan Ilson with a good chance to get Bournemouth back in the game. They're going to regret these missed chances, Bournemouth, aren't they?
Yes, they might very well do. They've had a lot of energy with them, but they've not quite had that final effort, that final finishing touch, you would say. Bournemouth, again, have just been all over Leicester for much of the second half, but they've not been able to do anything with it. All it will really take is one break for Leicester to give themselves that second goal, and Bournemouth will have a lot of moments to regret. As it stands, 60 minutes in, it's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
Thank you very much. Let's get back to Manchester City's game at home to Fulham at the Etihad. Paul James is watching, and once again, Manchester City coming close.
Yes, and also a double substitution by Manchester City just before that. Kyle Walker and Jack Grealish are off for Jeremy Doku. Kyle Walker is on. It's Manuel Akanji that's off, and Kyle Walker on, and Jack Grealish is off. Jeremy Doku is on. The chance came from the resulting free kick, which was swung in, and it took a deflection and bounced out to the edge of the penalty area, and it was struck in fact by Phil Foden, and it took a vicious deflection, left the goalkeeper rooted to the spot, but just went the wrong side of the post. It's still 2-1.
Wolfsburg 3-1 up away at Bochum in the Bundesliga. A late goal there for Jonas Wind. And in this SPFL, I'm not sure this is a goal that you particularly want to know about, but it's Hibernian 0, Motherwell 1. And I think it's just landed on my lap because they want me to try and read out the goal scorer's name. Apostolos Stamatelopoulos has scored 11 minutes into the second half for Motherwell. Do you want to repeat that? Apostolos Stamatelopoulos. It comes with practice, you know. He scored for Motherwell. Anyway, let's get along to West Ham's game against Ipswich. 3-1 up, in control it seems, and Kane Wears, they could have had a fourth.
Yeah, it's actually Ipswich who are in control of the game, but it's West Ham who are looking very good now on the counter-attack, and it's a good save by Muric, and Muric atones for his earlier mistake to make a brilliant reflex save to deny Kudos a second as the forward studs the cross from Bowens across, just forcing a brilliant one-handed save down to his left from the West Ham man. But Ipswich have got loads of the ball, not doing a lot with it. West Ham looking really good on the counter-attack. 62 minutes in, still West Ham 3, Ipswich 1.
Live and exclusive to Brila FM. You are tuned in to Football Live.
So we've got so much coming up on Football Live. We're covering everything in England, in Germany, in Italy, in Spain, in Saudi Arabia, in Nigeria. You name it, we've got it covered here on Football Live.
Our fantastic team of reporters will be bringing you all the goals as they go in the biggest games across the footballing world.
We love a bit of drama here on Football Live, and we've plenty of it this afternoon.
Visit the official Football Live website and find out more about the show and the people behind Football Live. Visit www.footballliveshow.uk and follow us on X at FootBLiveShow.
It's an absolute cracker. Fantastic.
Incredible, amazing, unbelievable,
sensational. Fantastic.
This is amazing on Football Live.
Around the grounds, chasing the goals. You are listening to Football Live.
Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
A good type of game of football.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live.
Join the corner where the big boys play.
You are listening live to Football Live.
Here is your host, Barry Swain.
Yes, so plenty of goals in all of our games this afternoon. We'll get off around the grounds in a minute. Just a quick reminder, Manchester City having to come from behind. They now lead Fulham by 2-1. Phil Foden on the road to recovery. He starts this afternoon for Manchester City. Here he is talking about his recovery and the win in midweek. A tough win away at Bratislava.
Yeah, feeling okay now. Back at it. Obviously it was slow start to the season, like I said, from the Euros. But yeah, I'm slowly getting there now and getting back into it. Definitely, like you said there, after the draw, we had to get the win, and yeah, our aim is to finish in the top half. So yeah, we're on the right steps now.
Well, he's on the right steps. If at first you don't succeed, keep trying. Boom! Bournemouth have finally cracked. Well, they finally cracked Leicester anyway. They are equalising through, 66 minutes gone. I haven't yet got the goal scorer. It's not come in yet. But I can tell you it is now Leicester 1, Bournemouth 1, and Leicester have been pegged back at last. Let me quickly tell you. We had that long name, didn't we? The Greek name just before the break there. Sending off for Reading this afternoon in League One in England. Second bookable offence midway through the second half for Kelvin Ahib Ashioman. There you go, Hibashioman. You've got to break it up and then put it together quickly. Hibashioman has been sent off for Reading this afternoon. Kelvin Hibashioman. Yeah, we've got that. Let's get back to our game, shall we? Let's go to Kane Wears. Ipswich are 3-1 down away at West Ham. Relatively short trip down from Suffolk to East London this afternoon. Kane Wears, they look like they're going to go home with nothing, but they've just had a big chance.
Yeah, it's better from Ipswich, and it's Burns gets in behind Emerson, but his low cutback cross is cleared by Todibo, who's been there again to deal with another Hutchinson cross after that clearance. And then again, Ipswich recycle the ball again, get it out wide from Burns, whips in a great ball, and Delap gets there with a bullet header that Areola does well to keep out, and Todibo then goes and scrambles away the clearance. Really good from Ipswich, who keep getting the ball out wide and whipping balls into the box and creating chances and working Areola hard. But 66 minutes in, still West Ham 3, Ipswich 1.
Gabriel Martinelli after 68 minutes. Arsenal 2, Southampton 1. And I can tell you that Bournemouth goal that I just mentioned, it was actually scored by Lewis Cook. He doesn't score many. And it's been disallowed. Let's hear all about it from Jacob Collick.
Yeah, indeed. It's a controversial goal that was ruled out. It was following controversial free kicks that were and weren't given. Lewis Cook on the left-hand side sent the ball straight in from the free kick, and it went past Hermansen. But it went just over the head of Ivan Elson, the striker for Bournemouth, who was in an offside position, and so the goal was ruled out. I'm sure there'll be much discussion afterwards about that, as well as a previous incident where Sinisterra was fouled by James Justin just moments before. Buonanotte had been fouled outside the Bournemouth box and nothing was given, so there'll be lots of angry shouting from the managers. But at the moment, it still remains Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
As a football commentator once said, they think it's all over. It is now. West Ham 4, Ipswich Town 1. We'll be across to London and to the London Stadium with Kane Wears in just a minute to hear about that goal. But staying in London, Martinelli has scored a second goal for Arsenal. I do believe there might be some sort of VAR check, but Jack Hesson is watching this one and he'll be able to bring us bang up to date with that second Arsenal goal.
Yeah, it was a really good goal there from Arsenal. Gabriel Martinelli. Bukayo Saka on the right-hand side does his trademark, cuts inside and plays a beautiful ball all the way to the back post. I have to admit, I don't know if it was a shot or if it was actually intended to be a cross to the back post, but nonetheless, fizzes all the way to the back post, and Martinelli was there, nobody around him to put it in at Ramsdale's near post. They are still checking the goal at the moment, and actually the goal has been given, so it is Arsenal 2, Southampton 1.
Confirmation, West Ham are now 4-1 up against Ipswich Town. Lucas Paquetá with the fourth goal. West Ham looking like they're going to pick up their first points at home this season. A good win for them against an Ipswich Town side, newly promoted, of course. Let's get off to the game between Brentford and Wolves. It's been just like last week at Chelsea. 4-2 at half-time, no goals in the second half, and funny enough, it's just playing itself out all over again. Russ Vernon, any chance of a goal?
Not at the moment, but VAR just checking for potential handball. I don't think the referees did anything yet in this game. So Meadows just been booked for challenging here and arguing with the referee. There's Guedes has come off for Carlos Forbes, who's played really, really well in this game so far. Brentford 4, Wolves 2.
Excellent. Yeah, the VAR check was complete. No offside given. Arsenal 2-1 up on Southampton. Let's get across and hear about that fourth West Ham United goal with Kane Wears.
Yeah, and that should do it for West Ham. Ipswich ripped to shreds at the back again by a simple pass. Antonio feeds Bowen down the right. This audacious cross with the outside of his boot evades the striker, but not Lucas Paquetá at the far post with a simple tap-in. Job done, it seems. 69 minutes played. West Ham 4, Ipswich 1.
Excellent. Sounds like 3 points for West Ham this afternoon. The final whistle has gone, and despite my tempting fate, Bayer Leverkusen didn't come up with their compulsory injury time winner, and it's ended 2-2. Let's hear about that game. Full-time report with Richard Freckleton from the Bayer Arena.
Yes, it's finished. Bayer Leverkusen 2, hosting Kiel 2. What a major surprise this result is as they go into the international break. You would put pretty much your house on it that Bayer Leverkusen would beat Holstein Kiel. Only had 1 point so far this season and are rock solid bottom having raced into a 2-goal lead with Boniface and Hoffman, you thought this was going to be a big score for Bayer Leverkusen this afternoon, but it wasn't. They came back strongly in the second half, well, just before half-time. Geschwell got the goal from the 6-yard box, from a beautiful cross from a corner from Lewis Holtby, the former Fulham and Tottenham Hotspur player. And Arp got a penalty in the second half to make it 2-2, and they really deserved their point, Holstein Kiel. They defended fantastically well, 5 in the midfield, and they frustrated Bayer Leverkusen throughout the second half. So it's finished here. Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 2.
Thank you very much for that this afternoon, Richard Freckleton, our reporter for Bayer Leverkusen against Holstein Kiel. Good point away from home net for Holstein Kiel as they look to climb the table on their first season back in the Bundesliga in Germany. Let's get back to the game at Arsenal. Jamie Vardy's got his fingers out again, gesturing at the visiting fans, and he nearly got to eat some humble pie, Jakub Kolik.
Yes, indeed. It was a classic moment. Vardy getting in behind, but he was just crowded out in the box and wasn't able to get his shot away. The Bournemouth fans jeered him in reaction, and he held up a 1-0 symbol on his hands to mock them. Well, it very nearly came back in his face. Only moments ago, Lewis Sinistera made a fantastic run down the left-hand side, lofted a ball in. Wutaro got his head on it, and it just hit the bar. They are knocking so close on the door. They are so close to getting that equalising goal. If Leicester keep on mocking and not actually scoring, then it may very well happen. It's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0, not long to go.
Another chance for Arsenal, Jack Hesson, as they look to put Southampton out of sight.
Yeah, they're trying to put this to bed then. It was Bukayo Saka just inside the area of the Southampton box. He managed to use good footwork to fashion a chance with his left foot towards the near post, but this time Ramsdale is able to make a save. It is 74 minutes on the clock, still Arsenal 2, Southampton 1.
Thank you very much for that. Right, a couple of goals to tell you about elsewhere. A goal in the game. Let's have a look where we're at. St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. Emmanuel Adegboyega with the goal for Dundee United at St Mirren Park. Good goal that for the defender, who doesn't get too many of them, and he's an Irish international, and he's gone and headed Dundee United ahead in that game. Elsewhere, Watford 1, Middlesbrough 1 in the Championship. The Congolese international Edo Kayemba with the goal to level things off in that match. Let's get back to Brentford against Wolverhampton Wanderers. No more goals in the second half, but a big penalty shout for Wolves, Russ Vernon.
Yes, Barry, Wolves wanting the penalties. Mateus Cunha will go stand inside the penalty area under the challenge of JanElt. He may have just been outside the box, and as he gets inside the penalty area, Pinnock just pushes on onto him and then falls on top of him. The referee, in a good position, waves it away, and in my opinion, it's a correct call as well. 74 minutes on the clock. Brentford 4, Wolves 2.
Live and exclusive to Brila FM. You are tuned in to Football Live.
So we've got so much coming up on Football Live. We're covering everything in England, in Germany, in Italy, in Spain, in Saudi Arabia, in Nigeria. You name it, we've got it covered here on Football Live.
Our fantastic team of reporters will be bringing you all the goals as they go in the biggest games across the footballing world.
We love a bit of drama here on Football Live, and we've plenty of it this afternoon.
Visit the official Football Live website and find out more about the show and the people behind Football Live. Visit www.footballliveshow.uk and follow us on X at FootBLiveShow.
It's an absolute cracker. Fantastic.
Incredible, amazing, unbelievable,
sensational. Fantastic.
This is amazing on Football Live. Around the ground, chasing the goals. You are listening to Football Live.
Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
A good type of game of football.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live.
Join round the corner where the big boys play.
You are listening live to Football Live.
Here is your host, Barry Swain.
Some breaking news coming out. Liverpool 1-0 winners at lunchtime against Crystal Palace. Arne Slot, Liverpool's boss, coming out afterwards to say that the goalkeeper Alisson won't be able to play again for Liverpool until after, or just before at very best, the November international break. A hamstring injury looks like it's a serious one for the Brazilian goalkeeper. He is going to be out for at least 6 weeks. That is a big blow for Liverpool, although they did pick up 3 very good points away at Crystal Palace in the lunchtime kick-off. It's been a fairly nervy afternoon for both Manchester City and also Arsenal. They've both had to come from behind to lead 2-1 at home. The job is not quite yet done. Let's get around the grounds. Starting off at Manchester City against Fulham. Paul James is watching this. Triple change for Fulham and subs also for Manchester City.
Yes, that's correct. So the players coming off for Fulham is Kenny Tete, Alex Iwobi and Raul Jimenez. And coming on is Timothy Castagna, Rodrigo Muniz and Reece Nelson. For Manchester City, well, they've taken the change of bringing off Phil Foden and taking on John Stones. Chance for Fulham, just before Jimenez went off, the ball was crossed into the middle. It looked all for the world like Jimenez might score, but a brilliant challenge from İlkay Gundogan. But it's still Manchester City 2, Fulham 1 with 11 minutes left.
Holding on, Manchester City leading by 2-1. Pretty much the same story at Arsenal. 1-0 down, 2-1 up. Here is Jack Hessen to bring us bang up to date with 10 minutes to go in this game at the Emirates, Jack.
Yeah, 10 minutes to go and Southampton came close there. It was Dibbling just outside the area, tries a low-driven shot towards the bottom right-hand corner and it just goes wide of the post to the right-hand side. Southampton have tried to run the changes as well. Adam Armstrong is on for Ryan Manning and Paul Anunchu is also on as to go up front in place of Matheus Fernandes. He is a Nigerian international and joins alongside Joe Aribo, who is also playing at the moment. 78 minutes on the clock, still Arsenal 2, Southampton 1.
Let's get back to Brentford against Wolverhampton Wanderers. No more goals in the second half, but at least we've got some Brentford substitutions, Russ Vernon.
Yes, Barry. Christian Norgod and Kevin Shearer have both played really well in this game today. They've both been substituted. On comes Fabio Carvalho and Yermiluk, who's come on in. Brentford have just won a goal kick, and Mr. Fayed, the left centre-back, who's normally playing, who's now moved out to the left-back, Brentford in the second half, was just celebrated like a goal with a fist bump, and as he did that, he knocks the linesman's flag out of his hands and then apologised immediately afterwards. A funny incident, try and catch it if you can. Still Brentford 4, Wolves 2.
Manchester City look like they've sewn up all 3 points this afternoon. They are now 3-1 up against Fulham at the Etihad. A third goal for Manchester City from Jeremy Doku, 8 minutes from time. We'll be across to hear about that in just a few moments' time. Let's get around those grounds where we haven't had an update recently. Leicester against Bournemouth, first of all. Leicester holding on grimly and somehow Bournemouth have not equalised in this game so far, Jacob Collick.
Yes, indeed. No, Leicester are clinging onto this game by their fingertips. Luis Sinisterra, who's a left winger playing at left back, has been absolutely dominating James Justin, who's not able to contain him. Just a minute ago, Evan Ilson headed narrowly wide from a fantastic cross from Semenyo. Bournemouth are pushing and pushing. They're playing a central midfielder at right back. They basically have 11 attackers on at the moment. They've got 10 minutes to try and find that equaliser. They are desperate to do so. And if they don't, then it would have been one hell of a defensive performance from Leicester. It's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
Let's go back to Paul James at the Etihad and hear about that all-important third goal for Manchester City.
Oh my goodness me, what a strike by Jeremy Doku. He picked the ball up at the corner of the penalty area on the left-hand side. He cut into the middle, he was totally unchallenged, but he struck a beautiful shot from 22 yards out into the top left-hand corner, leaving Bert Leno no chance. This game is all said and done now, but that was a goal worthy of winning any game. It's Manchester City 3, Fulham 1, and we have 7 minutes left, Barry.
7 minutes to go. We're getting towards the business end of the show, aren't we? Any late drama? Well, we'll dig it out right here, I can promise you. Let's get back to West Ham United against Ipswich Town. I'm not sure there's going to be too much drama late on in this game. Looks like West Ham United have long had this one sewn up, haven't they, Kane Weirs?
Yeah, Jared Bowen there just had a little look up and seen the Ipswich goalkeeper Muric off his line. He tries to lob him from miles out, but the goalkeeper does well to get back and make it a decent enough save. And then again, Kudos driving forwards again before smashing a low shot towards the bottom corner, and Muric getting down to make a decent save to his right hand side. But a triple change for Ipswich with Ogbene, Smoric and Taylor all coming on. Calvin Phillips, Burns and Clark coming off. Calvin Phillips smiling and waving to the fans, clearly not realising he's 4-1 down, and he cost Ipswich the first goal. 81 minutes played, still West Ham 4, Ipswich 1.
Yes, for Calvin Phillips, not a particularly happy return back to the club, where he didn't have a very good spell last season on loan from Manchester City, of course. Let's get back to Arsenal against Southampton. 2-1 to the Arsenal. But Southampton have just rattled the frame of the goal, haven't they, Jack Hesson?
They did, a nervy moment for the Gunners there, and it was a corner whipped in. Cameron Archer managed to get his head onto it, couldn't get any control over the header. It cannons off of his teammate Adam Armstrong and then onto the bar, so close. If it had just been about an inch under, then it would have been 2 each here. But still, Arsenal 2, Southampton 1, 82 minutes on the clock.
82 minutes on the clock. Just a quick reminder of where we are at on Football Live this afternoon. Earlier on in the lunchtime kickoff, Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 1. Diogo Jota's goal in the opening 10 minutes giving Liverpool all 3 points, with their goalkeeper Alisson taken off, injured with a hamstring injury that is going to keep him out for at least 6 weeks, we are told. In the current games in the Premier League, Arsenal 2, Southampton 1, Brentford 4, Wolves 2, Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0, Manchester City 3, Fulham 1, and West Ham United 4-1 up on Ipswich Town. In the Bundesliga, it's finished Bayer Leverkusen 2, Holstein Kiel 2. Points dropped at home for Bayer Leverkusen this afternoon. Victor Boniface amongst the goals for Bayer Leverkusen that led 2-0 in that game. So that's where we're at the moment. Let's continue to go round the ground, shall we? Let's go to Leicester against Bournemouth. I'm still perplexed, Jacob Collick, how Leicester are winning this game, given the amount of chances that Bournemouth have had, and the misfiring Evan Nilsson's afternoon is over.
Yes, indeed. David Brooks has come on to replace him as Leicester replace some of their wingers who are getting run ragged. Honestly, I can't tell you how Bournemouth haven't scored so far. It is honestly probably more about how Bournemouth's finishing has been disappointing rather than Leicester defending particularly well. But Leicester have just rushed forward. They've won a free kick with Senesi getting booked moments ago. So Leicester are now perhaps going to try and take this opportunity, slow down play a little bit, perhaps work their way back into the game for the last few minutes and just deny Bournemouth the opportunity to equalise right at the death. But remember, Leicester conceded 2 goals against Arsenal last time out after the 90th minute, so it is by far and away not over for Bournemouth. It is Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
Late goal for Watford in the Championship. They're now 2-1 up against Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough. The Ghanaian Kwadwo Bar scoring what looks to be a late winner for Watford in that game. They were losing and they're now winning at home to Middlesbrough this afternoon. Watford 2, Middlesbrough 1. Let's get back to Brentford against Wolves. There's been a shortage of goals in the second half, but Brentford have just come very close, Russ Vernon, to adding a 5th.
Yes, they did, Barry, but it would have been disallowed because Brandon Bremer put the ball into him, had a fantastic shot, would have been disallowed for offside, and he just made offside. Brandon Bremer was just going down looking for penalty, as you come to me, Barry. No penalty given for me, no foul either, in my opinion, but he's still Brentford 4, Wolves 2. That's issue last from me. Wolves have made another substitution. Bellegarde has come on for Gomez as well. It is Brentford 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2.
Football match is never over until the final whistle blows. It's now Manchester City 3, Fulham 2. Fulham have got a goal back through Rodrigo Muniz. He was in a rich vein of form at the end of last season. It's his first goal in any competition this season. He has scored for Fulham. It's 3-2 with a couple of minutes to go there. Is there still light at the end of the tunnel for Fulham, or is it game over? And let's get back into the action, shall we? Plymouth 1, Blackburn Rovers 1, late equaliser there. Joe Rankin Costello scoring the goal for Blackburn Rovers. Let's get around the grounds. In fact, before we go, I was just about to say, let's go to Arsenal. We're not going to go to Arsenal just yet because I've got a goal to tell you about at the Emirates. There's quite a few Arsenal fans with their ears pricked up, waiting for me to tell them what has happened. There's been a goal at the Emirates, and the goal has been scored by Bukayo Saka. It's 3-1 to Arsenal. And that should just about wrap it up for Arsenal. Although we did say that about Manchester City earlier, and Fulham have gone and got a goal. Let's talk about that Fulham goal, shall we? Paul James is at the Etihad. Fulham, are they still in with a chance after that second goal?
Well, you never know, because City blew a really good opportunity. Erling Haaland turned into a creator with a little bit of room inside the 6-yard box. He laid it to Bernardo Silva. It was a super save by the goalkeeper. But a minute and a half later, Fulham go down the opposite end of the field. They get the ball into the box from the right-hand side. Rodrigo Muniz was there with nobody within 3 yards of him, and his shot it may have taken a slight deflection off John Stones, the substitute, and diverted it away from Ederson. It's Manchester City 3, Fulham 2. We're inside the last minute. It's game on.
So a goal for Fulham and a goal for Arsenal as well. Jack Hesson at the Emirates.
Yeah, game set and match for the Arsenal, and again it's some sloppy defending from Southampton, which has really been the story of the second half for the Saints. And it was again loose ball played into Leandro Trossard, running at the Southampton defence. Sugawara manages to get the ball away, but his touch is just too heavy, and it falls to Bukayo Saka, who finishes it into the bottom right hand corner. 88 minutes on the clock. Arsenal 3, Southampton 1.
Football Live returns to Brila FM in 2 weeks' time due to the international break, and we will be back with Richard Parr, your host, in 2 weeks' time. On Saturday the 19th of October, there's some cracking matches in both the Bundesliga and, of course, the Premier League. Manchester United. Will Erik ten Hag still be in charge? Well, they'll be at home, that's for sure, at Old Trafford against Brentford. It's Newcastle versus Brighton. Ipswich Town take on Everton. Aston Villa go to Fulham. And Southampton are up against fellow newly promoted side Leicester City in a big game down at the bottom end of the Premier League table. And in the Bundesliga, the champions Bayer Leverkusen are at home at the Bay Arena against Eintracht Frankfurt. That's all to come in 2 weeks' time, right here on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM. Let's get back to the one game that's only got the one goal. Leicester City against Bournemouth. Bournemouth will be kicking themselves for not equalising. Jamie Vardy's scoreboard. Jacob Collick, 1-0 on his fingers. Still appears to be the correct scoreline.
Yeah, it looks like that photo will be making all of the papers tomorrow. Leicester beginning to look like the better side. Bournemouth just tiring, perhaps because they've not got a midfield, but have about 100 attackers on. Fatawa just made a great run for Leicester, eating up some time. He was brought down by the Bournemouth defender Senesi, but got back up and fired off a shot which went out for a throw-in. Ayew as well just went off for Boubakary Soumaré as they're trying to reinforce their midfield and shut up shop for the last few minutes. There's not long to go, and Bournemouth are looking like they're running out of ideas. It's Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
Couple of scores to bring you in the MPFL in Nigeria. Lobby Stars 1-0 up. They're deep into stoppage time there in the Battle of the Stars. Lobby Stars 1, Shooting Stars 0 in that game. And Bendel Insurance are 1-1 actually at half time. Just reaching half time in that. Just waiting for the half time whistle. Bendel Insurance 1, El Kanemi 1. Okay, where are we? We haven't had a goal in ages at Brentford. Well, we have now, because Brentford have just made it. Brentford 5, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2. Wolverhampton Wanderers' dismal start to the season looks like it's going to continue into the international break. A 5th goal for Brentford this afternoon gives us a rather convincing score line as Brentford score a 5th goal. First goal of the second half, that, and there we go, 5-2. Let's go to Leicester City against Bournemouth, shall we again? How have Bournemouth not scored in this game, Jacob?
It's a fantastic question. Semenyo with another shot. I believe he's got the second most shots in the league, just behind Haaland, and yet he hasn't been able to find the back of the net today. His shot just goes wide. He had to be picked up by one of his teammates. He's probably exhausted emotionally and physically after this game, which has been absolutely tragic for Bournemouth so far. All of the opportunities, not able to finish it up. There's 5 minutes of added time for them to just find something. It's Leicester 1, Bournemouth.
Let's go to West Ham against Ipswich at the London Stadium. We haven't been across there for a while to speak to Kane Wears. It's been long wrapped up though, West Ham 4, Ipswich 1. I suspect the Hammers are going through the motions, Kane.
Yeah, West Ham have got 4 goals today and there's 4 minutes added on just as we get to the 90 here, and another opportunity for Somerville, who's just came on, actually done well to get to the byline, get a good crosser into the box looking for Bowen, but Muric does well to dive on it. But West Ham have looked in total control probably the last 10 minutes or so, but Ipswich have still got that spirit about them and are trying to create some opportunities with the likes of that West Ham fan Sammy Smodic up front. But yeah, 91 minutes in, still West Ham 4, Ipswich 1.
Excellent. Let's get round those grounds quickly with injury time in so many of these games. Let's get to Paul James. He's watching Manchester City against Fulham. Is it a nervy few minutes for Manchester City, Paul?
Well, it actually is. Fulham are putting on a little bit of pressure on this City defence to the point that Ederson has just been booked for time wasting. And so that is a desperate move by City. It's not something that they normally do. But yeah, they've Fulham pressing, but they've not been able to create an opportunity yet. And there's 1 minute of the 5 left.
5, I hear you say 5. We are going to go and hear about the goal between Brentford and Wolves, but not just yet, because... They don't do single goals at Brentford. Brentford 5, Wolves 3, I can tell you, is now the latest score. We were just about to go across to Russ, but I don't think Russ has reported on a single goal this afternoon. Everything's been in twos because there's been so many goals flying in the first half, and Wolves have gone and got a goal back through Rayan At-Nouri to make it Brentford 5, Wolves 3, and what surely has been the game of the day. There have been plenty of goals. And, well, let's get across to Arsenal, shall we? I think it's in the bag. Jack Hesson, deep into stoppage time. Arsenal 3, Southampton 1. 3 important, if expected, points for the Gunners.
Yeah, 3 minutes into a substantial amount of added time. 9 minutes added time, just because there's been a lot of injuries in the second half. Of course, that VAR check for the Martinelli goal as well. But yeah, all in all, this has been, it was an expected result for Arsenal. They've dominated the game. They had that one blimp in the second half, at the start of the second half with the goal, but they managed to recover and stay in the hunt for the title race. As for Southampton, of course, they still linger at the bottom with just 1 point from 7 games, and they've not really shown a good account of themselves, certainly in the second half.
Thank you very much. Well, the full-time whistle has gone at the Etihad. Manchester City have beaten Fulham by 3 goals to 2. Let's get across to Paul James, who can give us that full-time report.
Yes, Fulham have fallen to a single goal defeat today to Manchester City. It's Manchester City 3, Fulham 2, but that really only tells half the story. Fulham took the early lead there on 27 minutes when Andres Pereira just got on the end of a cheeky back heel from Raul Jimenez. The equaliser came on 32 minutes with a deflected shot from Mateo Kovacic. City started going for the juggler after that and scored just after half-time on 47 minutes from Kovacic again with a wonderful strike. We actually thought it was game, set and match when Doku struck a wonder strike on 82 minutes. But the Cottagers really made it very difficult for City in injury time when Rodrigo Muniz got a goal on 88 minutes. But the champions hold on, and it's Manchester City 3, Fulham 2.
Thank you very much, Paul, for this afternoon. Just the 5 goals there. Just the 27 goals on Football Live this afternoon, and we've only been reporting on 6 games. Not bad, eh? And one of them is just 1-0 between Leicester and Bournemouth. Should have been a whole lot more goals. How Bournemouth haven't scored in that game, I do not know. I think I've said that already. Plymouth 2, Blackburn Rovers 1. Deep into stoppage time, 97th minute, Morgan Whittaker scored what must surely be the winner for Plymouth against Blackburn, and Wayne Rooney's men starting to pick up a little bit of form in the Championship. Championship in England. Another win on the way this afternoon. It's full time at West Ham United against Ipswich Town, and they've come good in the end. West Ham. Lopetegui has 3 points, much needed 3 points. It's Kane Wiz.
Yeah, superb afternoon for West Ham and a confidence-boosting win for Lopetegui's side, who sweep Ipswich aside with ease. And going 1-0 up in the opening minute with Mikel Antonio, Ipswich done well to then bounce straight back with a goal from Delap. But a punishing afternoon for Ipswich after conceding another 3 more goals by Kudus, Bowen and Paquetá, and they remain winless so far in the Premier League this season. Full time at the London Stadium. It's West Ham 4, Ipswich 1.
Let's get around the ground, shall we, as we enter the final few minutes of the show. Let's go first of all to the game which has produced no fewer than 8 goals for us this afternoon. Brentford against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Watching this goal fest for Football Live was Russ Vernon.
Yes, Barry, what a game. You treated me. I was treated to this afternoon. Nathan Collins got a scoring underway inside 2 minutes for Brentford. Mateus Cunha equalised just 2 minutes later. 20 minutes on the clock. Brandon Bremo stepped up to send Sam Johnson the wrong way from the spot, but Brentford back into the lead. 6 minutes after that, Wolves equalised again when Stren Larson put past the goalkeeper, finishing off well, getting front across his man. 2 minutes after that, Christian Norgård Brentford back into the lead to make it 3-2 to the home side. And then went 4-2 up in first half substance when Ethan Pinnock headed home before. Well, and there was half time at 4-2. There were then 2 late goals in the game for us as well. Fabio Carvalho scored after getting onto a rebound to push to Fulham to make it 5-2. But then in stoppage time as well, René Nui managed to finish off a knee move for Wolves with a full-time score at the G-Tech Community Stadium in Brentford 5, Wolverhampton Wanderers 3.
A much-needed first win back in the Premier League for Leicester City and their manager Steve Cooper, who's been under a bit of pressure in the last few days and weeks. It's Leicester City 1, Bournemouth 0 to tell us all about a good win for the Foxes. Here's Jacob Collick.
Leicester clung on to a narrow victory against Bournemouth, who'll regret hitting the bar twice and firing shots and headers narrowly wide and over the bar countless times. Leicester have their first win of the season, their first clean sheet of the season, and Steve Cooper his first win over Bournemouth in his career. Bournemouth had 17 shots that game, but only 2 on target. Leicester have faced a league-high 134 shots this season, so they'll be counting their lucky stars that they earned a win and won't be able to rely on just luck going forwards. Bournemouth will be devastated. Their run doesn't get any easier from here on out, with games against City and Liverpool oncoming, but it ended all today. Leicester 1, Bournemouth 0.
And the very last game in the Premier League has just finished at the Emirates. 3 points to the Arsenal, 3 goals to the Arsenal. Here's Jack Hesson.
Yeah, full time at the Emirates, 3-1, a routine victory in the end. Didn't always look that way on 55 minutes when the visitors took the lead with a Cameron Archer finish, but they responded straight away with a Kai Havertz finish from outside the area, followed it up 10 minutes later by a Gabriel Martinelli near post finish from across by Bukayo Saka, and then Saka himself got in the scoreline on 88 minutes with a close range finish. Into the bottom right hand corner, 3 points for Arsenal, full time, Arsenal 3, Southampton 1.
Yes, 3 points to the Arsenal, putting pressure on Liverpool at the top. Manchester City and Arsenal both winning, Liverpool winning as well today. Good win for West Ham United, 4-1 winners against Ipswich Town. Leicester City's first win of the season, as we just heard, beating Bournemouth by 1-0. And Brentford have entertained us this afternoon with a 5-3 win against struggling Wolverhampton Wanderers at the G-Tech Community Stadium. It has been quite the afternoon. Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga in Germany held to a 2-2 draw by Holstein Kiel. The newly promoted side struggling at the moment, coming from 2-0 down, despite a goal early on for Victor Boniface, who also scored a disallowed goal in that first half. Bayer Leverkusen chucking away a 2-goal lead. It's been quite an afternoon. 6 games covered, 27 goals. You can't get better than that. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We need a week off after all of that. It's international break next week. Don't worry, Richard Parr is back in 2 weeks' time right here on Football Live. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We'll see you all again very soon.
Thank you very much for joining us today on Football Live. We very much appreciate your company. We hope you can join us again in a couple of weeks after the international break when we return right here on Football Live.